Okay, welcome back to Lenz's Doctor Who review, episode number 23. Um, I have to explain something about this episode, and you're probably wondering why am I talking like this? Because I accidentally deleted this one. I was trying to delete a different video, but I'm deleting this one mistake, so I have to re-record everything for this one, which I hate doing this. Alright, we're here discussing Doctor Who Enemy of the World, which is a story where Troughton got a chance to play another character besides the Doctor. Yep, and this comes from the second season, which is from the fifth season of the show. Yep. And this one comes just after the Ice Warriors. Yep. Excuse me. It's kind of weird, though, the fact that this comes right after they just fought the Ice Warriors. I guess they needed a break. So I should point out this one is set in 2018. And it kind of follows a 3-act structure. Okay, we have the Doctor, Robert, Jamie, and Victoria on the beach, playing about, and of course Doctor is stripping down to his, almost like his tidy whities, but turns to just a white shirt and pants. Go swimming, and then of course, then he has to switch back to his clothing, and then he starts running from people coming at him, because he resembles this guy. And then they're picked up by a woman in a helicopter named Astrid. Yeah. Picked by her, she tries to explain, but of course there's a guy in her house that gets killed. And brought to her boss, Giles Kent. And they're there, and of course they explain the whole thing with Salamander. Yeah, Salamander is the, potential dictator, and they're trying to prevent that, and he has a doctor to impersonate him. He does, and fools a guy by the name of Robert Bruce. Yes, seriously, that's the guy's name. So, then of course, then he agrees to do this, somewhat, while also getting evidence to take down Salamander. Meanwhile, now Salamander basically just has these predictions, which better be true. He tries to take out a particular leader of the zone and replace him with a weakling. And he has some fraud charged against him, and they're actually not true. But it's safe, and then the file does come back later on in the story when his taste tester, yes, his taste tester, steals the damn thing. Why she steals it, don't know. It's kind of weird. To say the least, yes. And she explains that she hates Salamander for some reason. What that is, don't know. And of course, we also have a thing where half of the story has a secret. Well, a secret that was started by him and somebody else. I'll get to that. So, there are 30 people living underground. What's the reason for this? Well, because they're told that the world was destroyed by nuclear war. And he keeps coming back and forth because he brings back food supplies for them. And he's so tired. Well, this comes about because he's checking some records. And this also comes after the fact that he was told there's a guy who looks exactly like him. Which he does not meet this person in the final episode. Which, that should be interesting. Especially since it's the same actor. Excuse me. A lot of spy work in this one. And of course, you feel the guy who the Doctor's working with is actually a bad guy. Of course, that's how the final episode of this thing. Apparently, him and Salamander want to take over the world for reasons. And apparently, these guys build a whole bomb shelter underground. And by the way, he gets down via this very strange capsule drop. It was explaining why he looked so tired afterwards. And he alleges radiation. And Ash puts herself with the thing, and it turns out the machine is supposed to basically sanitize him is a fake. Now here's the thing. When the heck Salamander took time to build this damn place? I don't know. It just springs completely out of nowhere. But this story overall is just so fun. Oh, I have to talk about the ending of this thing. Where after Gal's been killed, this guy named Blanc, who actually gets, well, who's basically like a supporting villain here. He's like very creepy, very weasel looking. And he gets arrested, and of course, all the good guys escape. Giles is killed by Salamander. And then you see, well, at one point in the story, Jamie had been working for Salamander briefly, and then he's released from working with him. And of course, Victoria, the house that Salamander has, only appears for 3 episodes, and then after he kills off the guy who he was supposed to have another guy replace this other guy, he kills him. Allegedly suicide, even though it turns out it was actually murder. Oof. Yeah, but the ending of this one is quite unique because the ending of this is a cliffhanger. You think end of a story? Oh, it's a cliffhanger. The next episode. Next episode after this, the big cliffhanger happens into this, leads into the very next story, Web of Fear. Yeah, after everything is all said and done, and you have Jamie and Victoria, surprisingly, they don't go too much. They don't do very much in the whole story. They find some stuff. They do a little bit of action here and there. Mostly put these two do practically nothing the whole story, and they got back on board after everything is all done. I think it's a doctor came on board because him and Salman look exactly alike, and he tells Jamie, "Can you operate the controls, please?" And he's like, "Sure, but doctor, you told me not to touch the controls." And then a voice pops in. "That's correct, Jamie. And you think it's a doctor?" Turns around. "Oh crap! It's a doctor." The person walked in with Salamander, and of course they try to fight, and then of course he activates the controls, sends it to the vortex, and Salamander is sent flying out to the vortex. Bye bye, Salamander. Yeah, when I was watching, like, bye bye, Salamander. See you in over about 50 years later in a Doctor Who comic book. We return to the third Doctor story, which that's gonna be interesting. Quite at least, basically discuss that when I get a chance to do it. But this story is really good. At one point, this thing was lost until about 8 years ago. It was found. The entire thing, not just 1 or 2 episodes, the entire story. And for a long time, this was considered to be the worst. By the way, I give this one a 10 out of 10. From what I heard, this was considered to be the worst Doctor Who story. Like, one of the bad ones. Because it was on aliens. I found this to be pretty enjoyable, to say the least. Yep. The only weakness is it seems like a lot of the characters in the story who are not the companions are given way too much to do. The companions are given not much to do. It seems like they get stuff to do at the start of the story, and then over halfway through they just drop from the story. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But then it leads into the Web of Fear. And with this very episode, I have reviewed most of Season 2 of Troughton's run. Basically, the 5th season of the show. This here is pretty much almost the entire 2nd season of Troughton's run. Tomb of the Cybermen. The Ice Warriors. This one. Web of Fear. And Fear of the Deep. Also, not only that, I have reviewed almost every story featuring Victoria. And you're thinking, really? You have? Yes, I have. Right now I have one left I have not reviewed yet, and that's the Abominable Snowman. Aside from that, I've reviewed pretty much almost all of them. She does get briefly mentioned in, I think it was the 2 Doctors, and she made a cameo in like 5 Doctors, but when she was on there, I reviewed all but 1 story so far. Yep. I'm having a lot of fun reviewing Doctor Who. Now, for the next episode, I'm discussing an infamous 5th Doctor story. But I'll watch that soon. Probably tomorrow. Okay? Next video. Bye.